Amy, let me tell you about a magical place that is so exactly designed to be enclosed space, year-round fun for the whole family that I bet you already know what I'm going to say before I even say the name. Let's say it together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Great Wolf Lodge. You got it, Amy.
My kids loved Great Wolf Lodge when we went. You probably already know that it has a huge indoor water park with a wave pool, lazy river, a bunch of massive water slides. But then your pack can hit the other attractions because, wait, there's more.
Great Wolf Lodge has adventure-packed attractions like Magi Quest, a live-action game kids can play throughout the lodge, plus the Northern Lights Arcade. Spent some quality time there, so your kid who loves the lazy river and your kid who loves fantasy games will both have a great time.
Great Wolf Lodge also offers great dining options and complimentary daily events like nightly dance parties, all under one roof. Unpack the car once and you're settled in to have fun. And with 22 lodges across the country, you're always a short drive away from adventure.
We've both had such great times at Great Wolf Lodge, so bring your pack together at a lodge near you. Learn more at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack. Maybe you're a gummy bear parent.
What fresh hell.
Laughing in the face of motherhood.
Free range it into the weekend. Easy breezy.
With Margaret Abels
and Amy Wilson.
My baby cry, I put them in the barn.
A podcast that solves today's parenting dilemmas
so you don't have to. I'm like Pandy free range. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of What Fresh Hell Laughing in the Face of Motherhood. This is Margaret.
And this is Amy, and this week we're talking about parenting styles. Are they real and do they matter?
I like this topic. Mm-hmm. You know why? Because I thought of this topic, Amy. That's why I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like parenting styles in the last 20 years, 25, I don't know how long, maybe you'll tell me from your research, but it's like everyone's talking about parenting styles.
Yeah. And we're talking about like helicopter mom, tiger mom, 70s mom, French mom, snowplow mom.
Snowplow mom. That's the new thing.
Yep.
French mom. I forgot about French mom. She feeds her kids snails at 11 o'clock at night and they never complain.
She's so much better than you.
Oh, French mom. She's just, and it's funny because I've spent some time in France and like French adults, I don't know. Not that much better than me.
I wrote an article for Huffington Post about how French parents and 70s parents, it's just the same thing. Like, stop telling me I don't know how to be a French parent. I do. I just be more like my mom.
That is hilarious. That's right. It's like fire up a cigarette and don't care that much about what your kids are doing. And that's French mom. That's hilarious.
Same diff. The cheese wasn't as good in the 70s as it is in France. But other than that, same.
That's true. And I'm not going to lie. I think the outfits might have been a little bit better in France.
I'm going to come in hot and tell you I have a problem with these labels. It's Judgy McJudge-a-lot, I think. It's a good way for us to be like, well, I'm not that. I'm not the.
I agree. And the other thing, exactly, because the thing that's so funny about these parenting labels is no one ever self-identifies.
Except for Tiger Mom, right?
Yeah, Tiger Mom, I guess people sometimes do. But mostly like you hear like some people are helicopter parents. Helicopter parents are bad. And I'm like, someone must be the helicopter parent though, right? Like you never, I mean, I guess sometimes people are like, I'm worried I'm too much of a helicopter parent.
But they'd only self-identify in a negative way. Well, there's ones, I think, so there's two kinds. One is the Tiger Mom or the free range parent. Those are two of the, I wear this on my sleeve kind.
Yeah, I sometimes identify as a free-range parent. I'm a big fan of free-range parenting.
I am a big fan of some of the things about free-range parenting, and I think that's part of my problem with this, too, that we use them to sort of judge other people, but also then when we do that, it's like I'm all in or I'm nothing, and that's not true. Like I do some things that are free-range and some things that aren't, and that's okay. And when you start like deciding you have to be all this or none of this, then you miss out on the good possibilities of being a little more cafeteria about this stuff.
Yeah, good point. I think you might have solved it 3 minutes in, but let's keep talking anyway.
But of course, I did my deep dive into like where this stuff came from.
Because you're a researcher parent. That's a new term.
I went back to...
You're a librarian parent? What would that be? I'll have to think of a good term.
Yeah, right. I'm a librarian mom. I went back to the sort of the first example of this that I could recall, which has been, of course, discredited, was back in the 1940s. A lot of psychologists were pretty sure that there was a thing called refrigerator mothers.
Yes.
And that if your kid had autism, it was because you were a refrigerator mother.
Right. A refrigerator mother obviously is like cold, distant, and unloving.
Yep. And it was Bruno Bettelheim and some other male psychologists decided that it had to be the mom's fault.
Of course. The refrigerator mother. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I do think stylistically people were, I mean, I definitely have talked to people of a generation or two before, people closing in on 100 who are like, they'll often say to me, like, my mom never smiled at me. She never played with me. Like,
yeah.
I do think there was a very different parenting style 100 years ago, which was like, I'm trying to run the farm and you are my laborers. Like, it wasn't a lot of like, let's roll around on the floor and like make sure that I'm self-actualizing your every moment.
Remember that episode where we learned that it was, I think, back in the 20s and 30s, there was a parenting book that said you should put your kid in the backyard with a stick, like a baby, and dig some holes for the baby to have to fall in and crawl out of. And you should have like a hole in a fence if you want to peep at it, but do not, whatever you do, play with that baby or pick it up.
Yes. This is also the example of my mom. I can't remember where she was talking to this person, but she was talking to like a much older lady. And she's like, oh, the crying babies just drive me crazy. And the lady was German. And she's like, my baby cry, I put them in the barn. My mom was like, that's an interesting approach. So the refrigerator mother, not responsible for autism, but definitely like a different parenting style than we have today. They put them in the barn.
My father-in-law tells the story of being, he had a German mother, and one of his brothers actually got coal on Christmas morning.
Yeah, I mean, you got to kind of tip your hat to that. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
And my kids wanted to know, of course, what transgression could have been so bad that the thing that's threatened but never actually happened.
They probably didn't thresh the hay in time. I mean, it was a different world, people. It wasn't basically like my son right now. And I mean, we've lost the script. My son, it's, months from Christmas. And he's like, I got my list all together. Here are the 17 things I want listed in order of preference. And I'm like, we've come a long way since like, here's an orange for your entire year of correctly threshing the hay.
This is where tweet came from. This is right. Tweet was my grandmother looking at the sort of loving and maybe helicoptery parenting of P.S. the 70s and 80s and saying tweet to
yes.
that. Like, I got 6 presents for Christmas.
Right. Back like now, what we call neglect, your grandma was tweeting.
She was tweeting at that. Yes.
Oh, gosh. It is a different day. I think there's something to even be learned from our old friend, the refrigerator mother.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't her fault. But the funny thing is, here's my problem. Like, you're being told to leave your baby in the backyard and dig holes for it. But then if your baby has autism, it was your fault because you weren't attentive enough. Like, what?
Let me spoil this throughout time. When things go wrong, it's the mom's fault. Like, whatever the advice is given, like whatever is wrong. Like, I mean, look at us today. Everyone's like, oh, the world is terrible because moms don't instill the right values in their children anymore. Like, spoiler alert. This is all going to come down to like, no matter what style you choose, it is still your fault when things go wrong. This is why we get so caught up in it. Because it's like, wait a minute, all roads lead to like somehow everything I do is wrong.
All right, well, let's talk about helicopter moms, parents, because I feel like that's the number one.
It's a classic. This is the leader out of the gates. This is the leader in the clubhouse, as they say.
This was actually the term helicopter parent was coined in 1990 by 2 men in their book Parenting.
I love how you say 2 men. You're so mad.
And I believe they call I'd have to look, but I think they said helicopter moms, not helicopter parents, because of course it's the moms.
Oh, they definitely say helicopter moms. Don't bother looking it up.
They have a book called Parenting with Love and Logic, Teaching Children Responsibility. They also wrote a book called 1-2-3 Magic that I absolutely love and have found it, well, I don't really use it anymore, but it was very useful when my kids were little about teaching loving discipline. By when I count to 3, I'm going to take this thing if you don't listen. And, you have to follow through and be firm. And anyway, it worked for me a lot. But these guys said they thought that you were a helicopter parent when you made decisions for the developing young person rather than with them, when you speak for them, when you just, protect them from failure.
Right. Intervening instead of modeling independence. I get it. I get what a helicopter parent is. I get it.
I liked this one. Madeline Levine has a book called Teach Your Children Well, and she defines a helicopter parenting as the confusion of over-involvement with stability. And I think that gets at the core of the issue. Like, if you're a very attentive parent, maybe a little too helpy and don't let your kid fall ever, you think you're providing them with a more stable environment. But your over-involvement can be destabilizing in a way, right? You can create in your child some anxiety, some lack of self-esteem or self-confidence that they can't do something without checking with their parent every time. So over-involvement on our end isn't always more stability for our kids.
Well, and it's interesting, right? Like, it's definitely been a pendulum switch from shift from okay, baby sleep in Z barn to I drive my kid to 900 activities a day, and I am basically the cruise director of their life, making sure that every moment is maximally fulfilled and every obstacle is, removed from their path. Although I guess that's getting into the snowplow parent. But I think, and I've always just sort of accepted this as gospel, OMG, helicopter parents, people are too into their kids. Everyone gets a trophy. This is the call of our age, right? We hear this all the time. And I was reading some stuff from Grown and Flown, and we're going to have Lisa on the podcast in a couple of weeks, but talking about the fact that traditionally, really, that kids did stay in the fold of their home until they got married. Most people, I mean, my parents, probably your parents, right? They left their parents' house to go get married.
Yeah.
Even if they went to college, they came home. There was almost a ceremony of the leaving ceremony where you would walk down the steps of your house and go get in your spouse's car. There is this whole new developmental stage where kids are kind of out on their own for 10 years in a way that they haven't been in previous generations.
And yet they're kind of half out of the home, right? They're out of the home and texting us about, do I like chickpeas or not, when they get to the cafeteria for lunch. But you're right. The kid, we judge.
But the Grown and Flown argument would be hey, they're texting us to see what they want, but they used to live in the living room.
Right.
You used to still serve them lunch,
No, that makes sense. If you went to college, you went to college in your town.
Yeah.
This whole idea that you have to leave the nest at 18. Yeah, of course it's fraught and complicated and not as easy as pushing them out.
Yeah, so it gave me a different perspective on it. I mean, I definitely think it's funny. I feel like I'm much more refrigerator mom. My kid's been interested in martial arts, and we went yesterday and he did his first day of martial arts and he loved it. He loved it. He was crazy for it. But it's at 4:00 in the afternoons. It's wildly expensive. I almost fainted when she told me how expensive it was. And it's to be really good, you have to do it a couple days a week. This is an activity we cannot afford. It's too expensive. And we do okay. This is way out of, it's almost like a car payment a month. There's no way I would do this. Wow. And it involves me going and sitting there for an hour a couple times a week. I was looking around and just thinking who is doing this? This seems to me 10 steps past normal, but it's something that most people are doing, I guess.
Or you're actually paying the babysitter. That's the sort of New York way to do it, because you have to be a couple places at once, and one thing's on the east side and one side's downtown. So I would be paying a babysitter to go and then sit there while they do it and then bring it home. And then when you run those numbers, it doesn't make any sense. I consider myself pretty middle of the road, income wise and availability wise. I'm a stay-at-home parent. Basically, I have time, but this seemed to me multiple times too onerous, and it just really shocked me. I think a lot of people are doing this all the time. Yeah.
And I would just much rather take a vacation than have my kid study martial arts for a year that he's really not going to use in his real life, I don't think he's going to grow up and become a ninja.
You might be a panda parent.
Oh, what's a panda parent? That sounds good. I'm very cuddly and I'm quite rotund, so it could be.
The hottest parent in 2019 is
the round, fuzzy parent. It sounds right.
Panda Mom. From what I can tell, this started like 5 minutes ago, but I read lots of articles about it.
I've heard the term. I've definitely seen people.
Right. I didn't need to look at this. So there's a woman named Esther Wojcicki. I'm totally not saying that right. She just wrote a book, and she has 3 children.
Yes.
Who, like, one is like the head of YouTube, and one is 3 women, 3 daughters that have gone on to be incredibly successful.
Right. So people are like, how did you do it? That's like the Vampire Weekend mom. You know that band Vampire Weekend?
Is their mom a panda mom?
One of their moms the other kid is like the head of one of the biggest internet companies. And like the other kid is like, I don't know, like president of Guam or something. They're like super successful.
Right. So, okay. So how do you do it, Esther Panda Mom? And she says that she called herself a panda mom. And the way you do that is that you just step back from interfering in your children's actions. It's sort of refrigerator mom, but more cuddly, right? You're there.
It's sort of refrigerator mom repackaged as a panda.
It's a panda. How much more lovely? You don't interfere. Like I've seen pandas, and you know they just kind of lie there and chew bamboo, and their kid is there somewhere. Like they're there, but they're not all in it. And you know if the kid is annoying them, they kind of push them away. And so she specifically said that she never used baby talk with her children, that she talked to them like little adults.
Wait, that does not sound pandy to me. That doesn't sound cuddly.
Well, because pandas aren't cuddly. They're indifferent. Do you know that I have touched a panda? I have pet a panda. I went to China and I got to sit next to a panda and pet it. And it chewed on bamboo the whole time.
It doesn't care.
And it couldn't have cared less. I was petting it. It feels like a hairbrush, by the way. It's pretty wiry. And I was petting it saying like, I'm so glad I got to meet you. And you're just such a beautiful animal. And it was just like, whatever.
It was like, whatever, lady, not impressed.
Yeah. So this is clear to me, having met a panda, that they,
as my kid would say, hard pass.
Hard pass. I mean, not mad at me, but just like.
No, but just didn't care.
Stand up, walk away, sit there. I don't care.
That's my 10-year-old has adopted. He might be a panda. His new phrase, whenever anything comes up, I'm like, hey, did you hear that blah, blah? And his response is always, don't know, don't care. He's a panda. He's a mini panda.
That's panda mom. Although I feel like if the end is like, do all this so your kids will grow up to be millionaires, you're not such a panda mom. Like, spoiler alert, you're not a panda mom if you're.
No, there's no way. You know what? I have thoughts, Amy. Let's take a break. I'll be right back.
All right. For some of us, tax season is one of the only times that we look at our finances fully. And once it's over, well, that was terrible. And it is completely understandable not to want to think about it for another whole year. But using Monarch and being intentional with your finances in an ongoing way helps you see where your money is going and how you can put your refund to best use.
We are here to tell you, simplify your finances with Monarch. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make your life easier. It brings your entire financial life, budgeting, accounts and investments, net worth, and future planning together in one dashboard on your phone or laptop.
Feel aware and in control of your finances this tax season and get 50% off your Monarch subscription with code FRESH.
As you know, my husband and I are preparing to send, 3 kids off to college, and I cannot tell you how helpful Monarch has been in showing us our full financial picture, helping us to track our spending and reach important savings milestones. Our weekly meeting, Amy, it's now run by Monarch.
Love it. Achieve your financial goals for good with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes money management simple.
Use code FRESH at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off at monarch.com, code FRESH.
You know that thing where you get an amazing pair of shoes at a really great price and want to tell everyone about it? Yeah, so do we. Here at Designer Shoe Warehouse, we'll give you something to brag about, like the latest styles from brands you love, or the trends everyone's obsessing over, or shoes that make you feel like, well, you. So go ahead, show off a little. Find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today. DSW, let us surprise you.
Okay, we're back. Panda. So
still about panda.
I'm obsessed with the panda. So I think that now, how does panda, Amy, oversec with like free range? Because isn't the panda also like you send your kid to the store when they're like 4 years old?
It is, and yes. So how does it cross over? I think Panda is more about healthy indifference, and I'm gonna go controversial here. I feel like free range parent can get a little performative.
Oh, it definitely can.
Right? Like Lenore Skenazy, she coined the term free range parent, and she leapt to prominence when she had a op-ed in the New York Times about how she let her 9-year-old ride the subway alone in New York City, which is crazy. I mean, I'm here to raise my hand. I live here. That's crazy.
I disagree. I don't think it's crazy at all.
Oh, God. The subway is like nasty.
Amy, it's not like I don't live in New York. I know the subway. Like
nasty things happen on the subway, and the doors are closed and you can't get out. Like I've been in those situations. I let my kids move around New York City by themselves, but not on the subway until they're 14, 15.
Right. But it wasn't like she was like, I'm going to let my kid ride all over the world on the subway. Her son was like...
She kind of did. Like she kind of like, I mean, this is what I mean about it. It's kind of like I let him ride the subway by myself, and people had a hard time with that. Like, of course they did. And now you're getting to write a New York Times article because they did. And now you have an entire speaking career because, of course, people have a problem with it. You're doing it to rile people up.
I disagree. I'm a huge free range fan, but to my mind, her kid was like, I want to try this. And she was like, let's prep for it. Here's the map. It wasn't like, I'm going to just let you go free. You're now an adult. You're 9. You can wander anywhere on the... It was like, I want to go here on the subway train. Mm-hmm. And like he had money for the phone. He had the maps. He rode the subway by himself. It's not that big a deal. The other day we were in the city and I was like late for an appointment and I had my 10-year-old and I was like, if I drop you on this corner, just find your way over to the office. And if you need help, just ask an adult. Like someone will help you out.
Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. And this is what I mean, I guess. Like I shouldn't be like free range parenting sucks and I don't do that. Like I do stuff. I let my kids find their way all the time. So I guess there are things about free range parenting that are useful.
I think her general point of view is that we have developed a fear in modern life that danger lurks in every place for children. And especially for wealthy, privileged parents, it's like this idea of like, oh my God, our children need to be with us at all times until they're 17 years old. Like just striking back against that. And a lot of the stuff she writes about is like people calling police on 10-year-olds by themselves at playgrounds, like just the culture of like, I need to parent every other kid I see around. And I think that is a really important voice right now.
She has a quote in her book about, we all think our kids are going to be kidnapped at any moment, right? She suggests that society sort of over imprints that in our brain as a likely outcome. She says, if you actually wanted your child to be kidnapped, how long would you have to keep her outside without watching her for this to happen? About 750,000 years.
That's like statistically,
like kidnappings by abductions by strangers are exceedingly rare, and of course horrible, but exceedingly rare.
I just think she's very thoughtful and on the subject of like there's all these studies about like things that keep us safe, like the fact that like kids don't go outside, they're not running around, they're not riding their bikes, even like in a lot of countries there are no bike helmet laws, which like bike helmets are obviously a good thing. We, all know and have stories of people who are like very, very injured in bike accidents. But requiring bike helmets cuts down bike use. So like in other countries where bike helmet laws are not so strident, people ride bikes a lot more. Like there are trade-offs to everything in life, And I think that she just gives the perspective of like freedom is a trade-off to some degree for safety, but there's a lot in that spectrum, and like pushing the edges of that spectrum is useful.
There's a sort of sticky thing around free-range parenting too, is that it's something that's easier to do. You can leave your kid at a playground unattended if you're not going to get arrested for that, right? And there sort of are socioeconomic and racial things around that. Like you can't, there are mothers who have been arrested for leaving their kid at a playground while they went to work at McDonald's because they didn't have anybody to watch their kid. And,
right.
when you live in certain neighborhoods and have access to legal access and a way to write a strident op-ed in the local newspaper about how people don't understand that you're actually doing it better. That's a little bit different. Like, it's sort of easier said than done for some people. But I guess that I don't have to sort of throw the baby out with the bathwater. There are things about free-range parenting that are certainly worth considering and including.
I think there's a lot about it that's really worth considering. My daughter came down this morning and was packing up to leave for the day. She's 7, and my husband had found an old briefcase that she fell in love with, and she covered it with stickers. And so this morning, to get out the door, she packed all the clothes she needed. She packed all the paperwork she needed. She's 7, and stayed up late last night, made her own lunch, and packed it all away. And it just gave me that feeling of like, the kids are all capable of doing this, but I do it for them. And it's just good to remember and push yourself to like, hey guys, you make dinner tonight. Like, you're ready to go. My kids are 10, 9, and 7, and they don't do enough,
It's good to test them in little ways before they have to be tested in big ways. So my kids went to sleepaway camp for a couple of weeks, and we show up at the bus. Like, we all go to like a parking lot somewhere in the New York City area so that they can get on this bus to go to camp, and we have all their stuff. My son's friend, his mom was definitely going free range with this kid, like, pack for camp, fine, pack for camp. So they get there, and all the kids have a trunk with all their clothes and whatever, and then also a duffel with all their bedding, pillow, towels.
Right.
And she's like, why do you only have one thing when everybody else has 2? Well, he hadn't packed towels, sheets, pillow, blanket. So he didn't have anything to sleep on when he got to camp for 3 weeks except the bare mattress. There are circumstances where you need to let the kids live with the consequences of their action, but you can't actually send a kid away for 3 weeks with no towel or sheets or pillows or blankets. And off he went. He got on the bus, but she was going to have to scramble and mail him a box of stuff. And that to me was sort of like, okay, like, how do you work that situation? You can't let them not have a blanket for 3 weeks in the woods. It doesn't work. And you have to find a balance between letting them pack for camp. And then for me, it was, here's what we packed last year. Here's the list. Make sure you pack everything on this list.
Go find it. Yeah. Having some sort of check at the end of the day. I think that's what you're saying is like, you don't have to be like, I'm totally free range. Therefore, if my kid forgets his blanket, towel, and all the sheets for, we now let our kids pack themselves. And we often get places and they don't have underwear. And I'm like, all right, I'll just stop and get you a pack of underwear. Like, we can fill in the gaps, but like, if you go to the pool without your goggles, you're just swimming without goggles. Like, so it's like, you kind of find the balance between things. Like, but I think letting them have the responsibility is a great first step, and then figure out where the holes in that are. And also, like, we've talked about this before, certain kids are great at this. My 7-year-old could pack for a month away by herself. And like, I would check it once, but I bet it would be right, Yeah. My 10-year-old is not even close to being able to do that. He's just very disorganized.
It's a flatter curve for some kids.
Yeah. Different kids need different supports. And certainly you don't want to set your kids up to fail, but you don't want to literally like have them leave for college and not have ever packed their own bag. You've got to find some sort of balance.
Yeah, it's balance. Should we talk about snowplow parents? Because they've gotten a lot of bad press in 2019.
Yeah, this is the new rage. They're like, people were like beating down helicopter parents. And then it was like, wait a minute, over here, the light's even better. Let's beat up snowplow parents.
The latest controversial parenting technique. I had to sort of like, I'm not even sure I have it yet, but I was sort of like, hey, what's the difference between helicopter parenting and snowplow parenting?
Right. And just for the record, this is not a parenting technique. No one's like, I'm trying to be a snowplow parent.
Right.
No one's studying this technique to perfect it. This is like a default mode of when you've lost the script. This is not a parenting technique.
This is a parent who's more, the story goes, who's more focused on the road ahead, clearing future obstacles for the kid. Like if the helicopter parent is hovering and watching the kid in the moment, the snowplow parent is thinking, how do I make sure that she makes the soccer team next month?
Well, what I think is interesting about this too is like, this is the thing of no one thinks they're the snowplow parent. Like the parents who were involved in the whole scandal about college admissions and like, cheating and doing all these ridiculous, crazy things and like getting their kid to like put on a mustache and someone else takes their SATs for them. I mean, crazy stuff. At least 2 of those parents had parenting blogs where they like advised people on how to be good parents. Yeah. And a lot of what they talked about on those blogs were like, have good character, have good morals. And it's easy to like point and laugh at them and be like, okay, crazy, but you were like hiring a dude to take your kid's ACTs. But it's more insidious, this snowplow parent, than you think it is. That's what I take away from that.
I think it's like, again, it's assigned to us. If parents back in the day were being told to be refrigerator parents and then being blamed for being cold towards their kids and the outcome of that, we are told that, like, okay, beginning, because I have a kid who's beginning his junior year of high school. Okay, junior year, by the time junior year of high school starts, you should have done this. You should have taken this sample test. You should have been looking at this. You should have visited 6 schools this summer. They assign you that. And then when people go to extremes, and I'm not saying break the law, but I know somebody who knows somebody who was, who was involved in this whole thing. And they said it's a slippery slope because the first call is about, okay, you want your kid to get into these great schools, right? Okay, so here's the list. Okay, let's see what the scores are. Then you get the scores. Like, okay, so there's a little bit of a gap here. There's a couple of things we can do. Do you want to talk about that? Sure, we do. Okay, we can do this. We can do that, right? Okay, we're still not there. There are things we can do.
Right, now you're so close. Now you're really close.
Right, there is something. Right, you're led like hand over hand into the ravine of paying somebody to take your kid's SAT for you.
Right, because fundamentally, and you must be feeling this right now, your value as a human being, everything you've done for 17, 18 years with that kid is about to be judged by where they get into college. Like that now, it's like, I don't care how many birthday parties you throw. I don't care how many Pinteresty things you made for the kid. I don't care how many socks you matched and washed. It all comes down to this. And so people feel that pressure and they start to go insane. And it's like, well, it also seems just like, oh, we just have to close this little gap. It's like, okay, that you've completely lost the script. But this is the thing about snowplowing. It doesn't happen all at once. It's a very like insidious thing that's like, and everybody feels this. And this is the conversation I've had with a lot of people who they're like, we need to bring back trade schools, plumbing is a great occupation and being a carpenter. And like, we need to bring back trade schools. And it's like, okay, but are you only talking about that for other people's children? Like, just examine it a little bit. Like, I agree. I think that trade schools are a great thing, but like, are trade schools only a great thing for other people's kids? Like, are you getting caught up in the idea that like my kid has to be at the top of the mountain and then we'll figure out everything for everyone else's kid? Like, it is a mass hysteria, this college thing. And it's not surprising to me that people went crazy and did crazy stuff.
Right. You're being fed a diet of there's not enough room on the mountain for everybody. And if you're not already packed 6 months ahead, you're never going to get a spot at all. Like that, you're being fed that.
And the only thing in the world that matters is the top 10 feet of the mountain. And if you're not there, everything else you've done is a failure.
And it's not just college stuff. Like snowplow parenting does apply to younger kids too.
Oh, it applies in our town. Who makes the travel team for this particular team? It applies to like whose kid is like the, champion of the spelling bee, whatever it applies to. It applies to a lot of things, which is like, it all feels more fundamentally competitive than it actually is.
All right, let's come back and we're going to talk about tiger moms. I have feelings about tiger moms.
Oh, tiger moms.
My favorite skincare products actually feel more like self-care, like they're so nice to put on and they smell so good that I'm actually happy when I get to that part of my day. And I swear that is how I feel about Osea's anti-aging body balm.
Amy, you are usually the lotions and potions queen on this podcast, but I have to say, hard agree.
Osea's anti-aging body balm is a liquid silk body balm that combines the lasting hydration of a lotion with the firming power of a serum, leaving skin smoother and firmer.
This body balm is clinically tested and designed to deliver visible results you can see and feel.
So we've gotten to use this product for a couple of months now, and I swear I have really noticed firmer and smoother skin, like on the back of my hands. It's like getting a mini spa treatment from head to toe.
Get a spring-worthy glow with clean, clinically tested skincare from Osea. And right now, we have a special discount just for our listeners.
Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code FRESH at OseaMalibu.com.
That's 10% off your first order with code FRESH at OSEAMalibu.com. Amy, when I'm having a good hair day, it usually makes my whole day better. And that's why on every day, I'm taking Nutrafol.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand. And it's the #1 hair growth supplement brand personally used by dermatologists. Nutrafol's hair growth supplements are peer-reviewed, NSF certified for sport, and clinically tested.
Nutrafol offers multiple formulas for men and women tailored to different life stages and lifestyle factors, so you get support that's actually right for you. Adding Nutrafol to your daily routine is easy. Order online, no prescription needed, with automated deliveries and free shipping to keep you on track.
Let your hair be one less thing to worry about. See visibly thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair in 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol.
For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you visit Nutrafol.com and enter promo code LAUGHING.
That's Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code LAUGHING.
And now, your guide to the lesser-known parenting styles.
From the What Fresh Hell podcast.
The Groundhog Mom.
Sticks her head out every once in a while to check her kids are still alive before immediately burying herself back in level 6,718 of Candy Crush.
The NSA Mom.
She's got passwords. All of them. She's monitoring her kids' texts from her laptop. She's got an app that pings her whenever inappropriate Snapchats come through. And for some reason, she even knows her 14-year-old's TikTok login.
Air Traffic Controller Mom.
Schedules her kids every moment to ensure a smooth flow from breakfast table to bus pickup to after-school activities all over town.
The Godfather Mom.
Sits in a back room. Waits for kids to approach her to ask her favors. If she says yes, you're gonna owe her.
The Rabid Squirrel Mom.
Runs around in panic circles just trying to keep up and find some time for snacking. Signature phrase, has anyone seen my keys?
This has been your guide to the lesser-known parenting styles.
From the What Fresh Hell podcast.
Amy, I know you've been wanting to talk tiger moms.
You know, a lot of people think that the term was coined by Amy Chua in her 2011 bestseller, Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother.
Okay.
But it is actually, the first use of it seems to be in a book about Egypt from 1878.
That's surprising. Congratulations on this deep dive, Amy. You've really outdone yourself.
I love this stuff. Carl Benjamin Klunziger was studying the Bedouins of Egypt, and he said that among the Bedouins of Egypt in the 19th century, there was a fear of mothers-in-law whom they called tiger mothers. And then he wrote it, you have to hear it in German because it's even better. Mother-in-law, tiger mother, which Klunziger wrote as Schwiegermutter, Tigermutter.
Wow. But does it mean the same thing, or is it just like a mother-in-law is scary?
That was sort of like mother-in-laws are scary, and they were probably running things, probably very matriarchal. So no, now today it's more about the strict parenting styles that are typically enforced in Asian households.
Okay.
In Asia and in the United States, fixated on success. And that success is very tightly defined in certain fields, presumably like music and math, science. Well, it probably could be a good ballet dancer because it's very definable, right? It's precision, it's high skills, it's tons of practice. I had a problem with this Tiger Mother book because I felt like she said things in her book that were outrageous. Like, you know, she once sat next to her child on a piano bench for 3 hours and wouldn't let the kid get up even to go to the bathroom. She's throwing their stuffed animals out because they're not pleasing her. And then she went on every single talk show and she's like, well, I don't really mean it like that. I mean, I'm not really like that. It's really more like this. I didn't mean it like that when I said it. But the reason she got to be on the talk show is because she told stories of not letting her kid get up from a piano bench for 3 hours. You see what I mean? Like,
this is your same objection to free range kids. Like, I wrote an article, but
yeah,
it's really not exactly what I'm trying to say.
Right. Right. This whole, like, I sent my boy to Target wearing a, Princess Power t-shirt, and somebody said something to him, and now I'm writing about it and getting a book deal. It's like kind of like you're doing this.
Right.
It's performative.
Yeah.
Yeah. And heaven knows, the results of your kids are performative. But there was one thing from her book that I love, that I think about all the time, and I try to tell my kids all the time. She talked about, I think her kids play tennis too, like just things that you have to practice a lot at, and they don't want to do it. And she made them. And she explained to them that getting good at something is hard, and being good at something is amazing and easy and fun.
I think that overall point is really good. And I've been struggling with this a little bit in my own parenting lately, that like, how do you instill work ethic and hard work? And like, now I kind of want to, like, the martial arts thing is helpful with that. It's like, you're just going to practice it and get better and better and better. Although we're probably not going to go because I don't want to sit there for an hour. And like, I do think that that's something that I seek information about for myself. Like, how do you instill work ethic? I think it's very interesting. Like, how do you instill like sacrifice for the greater good? And I mean, I think you have to do it by constant repetition and constantly like keeping that at the top of your triangle and making sure that like this is the value of your household. But that is something that I think a lot about lately. Like, as my kids get to be 10, 9, and 7, like starting to hear them kind of like, I don't want to go to the pool. I'm bored of the pool. I'm like, my head explodes. Like, I get so tweet. I'm like, I cannot believe I just heard the phrase, I'm bored of the pool, Yeah. And so I do find myself like, if I were to target the struggle of my parenting life right now, it would be like instilling value and work ethic in my kids. And I do find myself a little mystified by that.
She would argue, I think, that we're much more focused on getting our kids to want to do stuff. Like, how do we instill the work ethic in them? And I think she would be like, don't worry about that. You make them do the work because that's your job. And then the work ethic will come. But you teach them to have the work ethic by making them do the work. They wouldn't be at the pool, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's hard because they're very whiny and annoying. Yeah. And it's a lot easier to just ignore them. And so I do think that that's where, like, I'm all for the panda mom. Like, of course, I want to be like, I'm the mom who's just completely relaxed. I don't fuss over stuff. I let them do what they want. But then I have like the 3 a.m. cold sweat of like, my kid today said like, I don't want to go to the pool. I'm too bored of the pool. And I'm like, wait a minute, I can't be raising a child who is too bored of the pool, I mean, by the way, our town pool, like, we don't have a pool in our backyard, but like,
right.
Just the idea that like, it's too much of a hardship to go to the pool is like, when I hear that phrase, I'm like, I've lost everything. And that's, I think, where we're getting to with all of these parenting styles. It's like, it's not a full reflection of my parenting that my child uttered the phrase, I'm too bored to go to the pool. But it is kind of like, let me reset and like work a little bit. And that is something I'm bad at. Like, I don't want to stand over a kid and make him practice the piano, but I think my kids are going to wish they played piano when they're older.
Right.
And so, but I don't really do it because I find it annoying. I don't want to do it.
Okay, so I'm going to say that in this case, right, where you're like, should I be making my kids practice the piano?
Yes.
That there's a possibility that you can sort of take a card from the Tiger Mom's hand without being a tiger mom. See what I'm saying? Like, when we spend too much time being like, well, I'm not that, we're missing out on the possibility that there are some good things.
Yes, I think that's very true. And that's like, can you take a page from Tiger Mom's book without being like, my new life is getting both of my kids into elite Ivy League institutions where they will be doctors by the time they're 19,
And on the other hand, because it is an all or nothing, Katie Royfey wrote an article about the myths of helicopter parenting. And she said, don't fool yourself into thinking that you're not one, because you probably are. I know parents who think of themselves as very unhelicoptery, but they're just helicoptering in different ways.
Yes, very true.
Right? And so when we're sort of like, well, I'm not that. I'm not crazy like those people. I'm not a snowplow parent who pays somebody to take the SAT. Right, but did you call the drama teacher when your kid didn't get the part she wanted in the play? And then
right, maybe
you are a little bit, and it's sort of like the mote in your own eye instead of the plank in the other one's eye. Maybe these labels we just spend too much time deciding everybody else is doing it wrong.
And are there good things? Like, you shouldn't necessarily feel guilty about, like, if you decide you want to get up on Saturday morning and make Mickey Mouse shaped pancakes and like get all the kids in their favorite Disney pajamas and do a big Disney themed breakfast because that's fun to you. It doesn't mean like, you're shaping every narrative of your kid's life and you're a monster. Like, it's okay to like be kind and giving to your kids. It doesn't mean that you're like a bad person and a bad parent.
Right.
It's just you might not want to curate every single experience they have all day, every day for their entire lives.
Right. So, okay. So consider that we maybe don't fit any of these categories cleanly and shouldn't. And don't feel bad about, as you say, doing the stuff that you love and paying attention to your kids in the ways that are important. I mean, I'm going to usher my kid through this college process with awareness that it's crazy, and with awareness that some parents are crazy about it, and with awareness that I'm probably a little bit crazy about it too. But I'm going to try not to spend too much time feeling bad about that or trying to define myself in opposition to another, because like, whatever, just do what needs to be done for your kid in this situation.
Yeah. And realize that like the Achilles heel of the whole college cheating thing is getting over attached to an outcome that is fundamentally out of your control. That's what I try to keep going back to and back to and back to. Like, whether or not my kid gets the lead in the school play that I know they're perfect for, and they've been talking about and talking about and talking about for years, and it will be the heartbreak of their life if they don't get it. The number one thing you have to recognize about that situation, it is not in your control and it is not in your kid's control.
Yeah.
And like really being true with yourself about what you can and cannot control. And also realizing that like what lifestyle, I come back to something my pediatrician told me a lot of years ago, which is it's 50% what you want and 50% what your kid wants. So my kid is desperate to do martial arts and loves it. But the martial arts place is too expensive and too time consuming. And so probably we're going to end up not doing it. And my kid is going to be quite disappointed. But I may be like, okay, if you love martial arts, maybe we can find a different school that isn't as expensive. Maybe we can find, I was looking at like gymnastics places because a lot of what he likes is like tumbling. Like, what are the things that we like about this? You know, tumbling, discipline, physical, maybe something a little bit like other culturally about it. And like, where can we replicate those things at a school that is not as immersive and not as expensive? And so we can find a way to make these things work together without it being like, I'm taking obstacles out of the way, you're getting everything you want, or I'm just like, you're not going to get anything you want because I'm not going to help you because I am a free range parent.
And it occurs to me that we were just saying like, well, your daughter can pack herself for a vacation, but maybe one of your other kids can't. Like, it's okay to be more helicopter-y with one kid and more panda-y with another kid. They respond to different things. It's not one size fits all. Of course it's not. So do what's right for your kid. And then just, I think, be open to the possibility that maybe you can do things a little bit differently.
Yeah, and that kids really, Frank Bruni of the New York Times has a book called Where You Go Isn't Who You'll Be. And it's about the college admissions race, basically. And talks about, you know, he works at the New York Times and he's like, listen, in the Times newsroom, there's very few Ivy League graduates. It's a lot of like state school kids, you know, and like, and a lot of different places in life. As you look around at adults, you don't necessarily see like every single person who you know who is a successful adult. Like, they came from all sorts of different places and all sorts of different traditions. And like, it's fine. It all, like, as we start moving up the mountain, like, there's a lot of room. There's more room than we think. And there's a lot of different paths up that all get to the same place fundamentally. It doesn't get to like the rare air Ivy League, oh my God, this is the only thing that matters. It just gets to like a clearing where everybody's kind of milling about in a okay way.
I think we solved it. I'm going to say like, you know, I'm a little tigery today and I'm a little helicoptery tomorrow. And then I'm going to free range it into the weekend. Easy breezy.
I like it. Yeah. I mean, I think everyone kind of knows. Like, I would say I'm like pandy free range is my goal, you know, at the top of my list. But like, yes, it's more of a kaleidoscope than a list. A little bit of everything, Amy.
Parenting is a Kaleidoscope by Margaret Abels.
Oh, God. That is a book you will never read.
With foreword by Amy Wilson.
Yes. No. A book that will literally never exist. So please do not look for it in your local bookstore.
But we do have a lot of good links to studies and articles and stuff and all these different types of moms. And I'm going to put them where I always put them on our website, whatfreshhellpodcast.com. Although if you're listening to this in a podcast app, you can always kind of swipe or tap and find them there as well.
That is really helpful. I did not know that exists. The swiping and tapping, I like it. You can also, guys, please come to our Facebook page, facebook.com/whatfreshhellcast, or just search What Fresh Hell Podcast and you'll find us, because we have a Facebook page and a Facebook group where we are discussing all of the stuff that comes up on these episodes. And we want to hear what kind of parenting style you're rolling with. Maybe you have a parenting style we've never heard of.
We will be sure to discuss each one of these styles.
Yes. Maybe you're a gummy bear parent. Come explain what that is. You're something new.
Right. Get a book deal. Come tell us what kind of parent you are.
Yes. Get a book deal. Don't write an article in the Times and then go on today's show, because Amy will be so annoyed with you.
I'll cast a gimlet eye on that. We're also on Instagram at whatfreshhellcast, and we're on Twitter at WFH Podcast. And guess what? We're going to take next week off from the podcast.
Guys, we're taking a vacay, a much needed vacay.
End of summer vacay. We'll be back on September 4th. So you're just gonna miss one episode, and there's gonna be an Ask Margaret in the meantime. So
lots to keep you entertained. Don't sweat it at all. And go back and find some old stuff from our catalog, and spend the week telling your friends to check out What Fresh Hell. And we will talk to you guys in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.
This is a Monday.com ad. The same Monday.com helping people worldwide getting work done faster and better. The same Monday.com designed for every team and every industry. The same Monday.com with built-in AI, scaling your work from day one. The same Monday.com that your team will actually love using. The same Monday.com with an easy and intuitive setup. Go to Monday.com and try it for free. Yes, the same Monday.com.